Hi folks, it's Donnie here. I wanted to do a little bit of a tutorial because I've been learning a lot about this game over the long time I've been playing it. And, it's frustrating to me watching people struggle in this game in places where they could be improved. So, I want to go through the story mode here. I might do the other DLCs as a different video, but I kind of just want to go over some tricks that you can or maybe even hacks you can probably exploit to get high scores, stars, whatever you want. Start at 1-1. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different things in 1-1. The first thing I'll show you in 1-1 is some of the stages, not all of them, but some of the stages, the timer does not start until you serve the first dish. Okay, so 1-1 is very much one of those stages. You'll notice that the timer, just stays at 2:30 for the whole thing. So you can just prepare lots of food, and just prepare lots of stuff. That's all there is to it. By the way, I'm not that proficient in one-player mode. I'm always playing online, so it's a little bit different for me to be playing in one-player mode. So, but anyway, this is what you would do. You would go ahead and you would prepare a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, with 2 or more players, you would have one person, preparing stuff, and the other person serving stuff. So, when it comes to serving, obviously, if you bring the plate to the window, right? So bring the plate to the window. Another thing I want to show you is this technique called the dash drop, which is basically the ability to throw a plate. So you could throw, you know that you can of course throw stuff like food that's unprepared, anywhere you want. You can throw that using the same button you use to chop. What you could do instead, though, is if you drop a plate, or drop anything, a pot, a pan, whatever, if you drop it and dash at the same time, this is the dash button, what happens is the momentum actually carries the thing you're holding. So you're going to press both buttons at the same time. And you can see that it moves quite a bit, and if you already have a little bit of momentum, you could really send it off pretty fast. So this is the drop dash technique, and it's really helpful for getting stuff across different gaps, things like that, and even just getting stuff across the floor, because sometimes you have to travel stuff kind of far. So it's really helpful for moving plates across from what's it called, the sink being really far away. But you can also use this technique to serve. So if I grab this thing and I just kind of shove it in there, it doesn't look like it does much, right? But and that's what happens too. If there's a counter next to it, it'll try to drop it off the counter. So what you could do is to stop it from dropping on the counter, you can place a whole bunch of stuff on the counter. But the thing that I'm going to show you now is something called double serving. Double serving is very much a hack, and you're not allowed to do it for world records. But what you do is you're going to do the drop dash technique, but that you're basically going to go ahead and mash on the drop button. So again, the drop button is this one. Okay, so that's the button that drops and picks things up. You're going to basically mash on that button. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not all, but what'll happen if you do it right is you'll hear a double serve, like that. And what that does, not only will you get 2 orders in that were in a line, you will also get additional plate. So now, I started with 4 plates before. You'll see, if I have enough time here, I have 5. Okay? So, that will give you an additional plate. And that's, of course, super helpful in stages where you only have 2 plates, for example. Again, you can't do the world record stuff. It is very challenging to do. It's not like 100% all the time. But basically what you're doing is you're serving a plate with that drop dash technique. But what's also happening is you're picking the plate back up as it's being served, and you're serving it again. So that's what's happening there, and end up counting as, you know, double serving. So, you know, the 1-1 stage isn't really that good for that because what'll happen is you'll lose your tips because it'll be out of order sometimes. But for a stage like 1-2, okay, where it's the same order over and over and over again, it's actually very good because you're not going to break order. You'll just be, again, double serving the same order that you did before. So this stage in particular is really helpful. 1-2 is also another stage where you can prep a whole bunch of stuff without the timer starting. So you'll see that here. Let's go here, start chopping this, and start filling these things. Another tip, which I don't see a lot of people do, is you should absolutely be throwing things into pots and pans. It's faster, and you don't need to be as accurate when you're doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. Wait for a second. Another thing that's super important with the double serving is to have enough room. So you kind of want to be in about this spot, which is about 2 or 3 tiles or 2 or 3 avatars away from the serving window, and then you're going to go ahead and try the like that. Wow, see, look at that. 3 times in a row, no problem. Thank you. So the big gimmick here, of course, and you can see I'm absolutely racking these plates. And I don't need all these plates for this stage, absolutely not. But for other stages, definitely. Another thing that's really important to know is to get things off the chopping board as fast as you possibly can. Because you need those chopping boards. So it's super important to make sure you have space for things to be chopped. Another thing that's super important is attempting to keep the pots or pans on the burner as long as possible. I see a lot of people that like to move the pots and pans because they're about to burn. And if you need to do that, okay, so I'm going to do that right now. Put them on the floor. Put them on the floor right next to where you are, and then you can go ahead and keep it close to the burners. Again, the thing that you're really trying to focus on is not doing that. What you want to do is you want to have something that picks up the rice for you. So like a plate is an okay idea, but most of the time, this doesn't happen all the time, of course, is that you would actually want like a burrito. So you really don't want to be picking things up with plates unless you know you're going to serve. The important thing is to make sure that the plate is usually the last thing that you pick up. Because you want to make sure that you have enough plates. Anything that needs to be served is the thing that needs a plate. Go. More. And you could also totally double serve with empty plates. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But of course, you'll be like breaking. I think you break tip if you're serving something that's not supposed to be served. So keep that in mind. If you care about keeping the tip order in a line, make sure that you're trying not to do that. But if you don't care, just go ahead and serve an empty plate. It's going to come right back, especially in stages where you don't have to wash dishes. What does it matter, right? All right, so let's go to 1-3. Let's go on 1-3. So 1-3, I'm going to start now talking a little bit more about strategies that are specific to the kitchens. And I probably also won't play the stage entirely unless it makes sense to talk about the entire thing. But the main objective here, especially if you're playing on a team, is to be throwing the rice to the right, throwing the cucumbers to the left. And the other thing that I also notice a lot of people do is similar to what I was saying earlier. People love to automatically put rice on a plate, this is not the place to be doing it. Not everything needs rice. So you can see that the first thing that I need is actually shrimp. And shrimp doesn't need rice. So there's no reason for me to go ahead and put rice on a plate that doesn't need it. So there's only one thing that needs rice. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up for this guy. The shrimp. Now, you'll also notice in this stage that there really isn't enough room to do the double serving technique. That happens every once in a while, where the amount of space that you have to do double serving really isn't there, so you probably won't be able to do it. You might be able to get it from like the side here, but it probably won't. So, okay, so we got only one thing that needs rice. I'm going to pick that up right from the floor. Put that back. The other thing also, too, is always be cooking. So, if you're able to be cooking something, make sure that you're cooking something. Again, it's very difficult for me to be doing this. Screw up a little bit, that's okay. We'll work here. Here. Actually, I'll put the plate up here. Put that over here. And there's definitely people that are way better at manipulating two players at the same time than me. But like I said, I usually play other people. Another thing that's really helpful for this stage is to set up all the seaweed here. You'll notice also, actually, if you watch the world record, what'll happen is once they're done chopping over here, they'll throw it and hit the plant that's at the end here. And that kind of like stacks stuff up. So you'll see here as I do that, it'll actually stack stuff up over here. And stacking is actually really good because you can just have stuff kind of, what's it called? Kind of like set up there. And if it falls off, it's okay. You don't have to do it again. Again, always be cooking, so I have to cook here. Again, and this is especially, again, for people who have partners that are paying attention to their own jobs. Because right now I don't have a partner in this kind of myself. So, order. And I don't care. So yeah. That's the general gist of this here. Again, everything does not need rice. It's important to pay attention to the stuff that does need rice. So the person on the right-hand side who's normally washing the dishes, after you wash a dish, take a look at the orders that are in the kitchen that are either being prepared or almost done, especially the ones, of course, that are on their way to being done. And notice if it needs rice or not. Because if it doesn't, just put the plate there and go to the next thing. Alright, so next is 1-4, and 1-4 is also a very confusing one for people when they're first starting out. And it introduces the conveyor belts, and of course also introduces you to dashing. Now, of course, you could have been dashing since the beginning of this with no problem, but this is where it says, hey, you could press this button to dash. So, a couple of things right to start off from the beginning of this. You want to move that fire extinguisher. It's actually very much in the way for you throwing items. So I'm going to move that. Right on here. The next thing I do is I take the seaweed, the nori, and what I want to do is I want to kind of have my avatar so it's highlighting the nori, but also holding the throw button. So you can see the arrows now. I'm holding the throw button. And I can direct the nori to where I want it to go. So I want it to go right about there. And then I want to do it again. So I'm picking up and throwing, and not even moving my character. So I can actually pick up from behind me and throw that stuff. And I only want to throw enough for the plates that are there. All right. So now when I do that, and by the way, when this is happening, you'd have the other player throwing this stuff over to the chopper. You want to throw a whole bunch. Okay. So now that you've set this stuff up over here, what you want to do is you want to have all these plates. ready. And this is the general gist here. There should always be a plate with nori or seaweed over in that area. Never set up anything over here. There should be no point. Once you move those plates, there's no reason for you to be in this area. All right? Next thing, same kind of idea. You want to kind of set up your character so it's next to the rice. You want to throw it against the conveyor belt. And if you do it right, it'll just land on the conveyor belt. All right? Sometimes it gets stuck. Next thing, you just throw it to the pots. Anything else that's left, kind of have kind of cooking. All right? Now, like I said, this character over here should be chopping. I'm just going to chop. And as the stuff gets cooked, you're going to put it on a plate, and then you're going to start cooking the rest of the stuff. You'll also notice in the world record for this that they don't actually throw so many rices over here. They actually keep it pretty neat organized because it can be very chaotic. And then once something is actually done cutting, imagine you're the avatar that's cutting here. The best thing for you to do is to try to throw it over here. Probably not on the conveyor belt, but you want to throw it in the general vicinity of this bottom area over here. You want to throw it kind of over here. What'll happen sometimes, unfortunately, is it'll get stuck in a corner, and you won't be able to get to it, but it's no big deal. Just drop more food, okay? And then all of it is a matter of serving. So you're going to go ahead and serve all this stuff. These. Fish. Back. So now you'll get a whole bunch of plates. Okay? Now there's two things that you could do here. Either what you could do is you could wash a plate, and then you can take a plate, put it on top of the rice, put the seaweed on, and move over here and collect, all the rest of the food. Okay? You could do that, or what you could do is you could go over to this area again, like I said earlier. You kind of want to put yourself in the corners. And then you want to throw a whole bunch of nori over here. And what that'll do is, and unfortunately it'll be over here, that's what you'll be able to do now is when you finish doing the dish, you can pick up the nori right from here, zoom over, pick up your rice, and go. Okay? So that's another thing that you can do. But that's the general gist, is you want to make sure that you don't move to the right-hand side unless you have seaweed on that plate. Because if you don't have seaweed on the plate, you're just going to loop around the entire stage to serve. So the nori is very close to the dishes. Put the nori on the dish, and then go to the right and pick up the rest of your stuff. If you notice while you're doing that there isn't enough rice, throw some rice over on the conveyor belt, and hopefully the person on the right can pay attention to put that stuff in the pots. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure that you are throwing things in the pots. So 1.5 is pretty straightforward. There isn't a lot to go on here, but it does introduce another concept that is kind of important to pay attention to, which is when you have pots and pans in your stage, you could absolutely change their positions. Now, in this stage, it doesn't matter too much about changing positions, but also this. But it might help to change positions. So what this allows you to do is you can make an entire meal on one side, right? Now, this is, like I said, it's a lot less important here in this particular stage, but it's much more important in other stages. Put that there. Now what this does is it allows me to go ahead and put together an entire meal on one side. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter too much at this stage, especially with a partner, because you're going to be kind of just like doing this over and over again. So it doesn't matter too much, but it could be. So I'll pick this up here, here. Go across, right? So I can totally, and you just repeat that over and over again. It's no big deal. This would be a great place to double serve because you only have 2 plates. And that's it. Oh, By the way, speaking about plates, you shouldn't, if you have a sink and you need to wash plates, you should never take the plates from the stack unless you're going to serve. Okay? So if you're going to serve something, that's when you actually grab a plate. Because plates take up space on your counters, and you might need to have that counter space for something else. So you can see here, I have 3 plates, and they're taking up quite a bit of counter space right now. What I want to do is I don't want to take the plates and put them down back on the counter again, because it's not going to help me. I want to just have them stacked for as long as possible until I'm ready to serve. This is one of the stages that is a transition stage. You'll start, of course, with this first balloon area, and then you're going to go ahead and move on to the sushi kitchen. So as you can see, I'm just going to serve those 3 things, and I'm going to go ahead and continue making stuff, but I'm also going to wash this a little bit. I'm just going to let the plates stack. Like, there's no reason for me to grab this plate necessarily right now. Ready to serve this. Now, the counter example of this, of course, is in a kitchen where you are needing to, like, put stuff on a plate in order to serve it. What ends up happening there sometimes is you might want to actually start putting the plate out, only because you can stack multiple ingredients on one plate. So, for example, this next order that we're doing here, instead of having all 3 ingredients, like taking all these different spaces here, if they were all chopped, they can all go onto one plate and only take up 1 counter space in the room. So that might be you might want to consider in terms of decisions you may have made. Right? So that's really important for paying attention to counter space. It's another thing. Most of the time, it's not good to be taking the plates off unless the plate is going to be collecting items and making the amount of counter space smaller. Now this is the second part of the transition here. A couple of things that you want to know. First off, there are 2 sinks. So there is a sink here, and then there's a sink. There is a sink down here. There's a sink down here. Okay. There's also 2 additional plates up here. Okay. And then the rice comes over here, goes in those pots. The nori's over here, and the fish is up here. Okay, and then your dirty plates will be over here. One thing to note is, in my opinion, the conveyor belts are very, very fitting. Only unless you're really like highlighting that item will you be able to pick it up. If you're halfway between 2 conveyor belts, it's much, much harder to fix it. So you kind of want to be at a spot where you could actually see the highlight and pick the thing up. So like here, we'll pick it up and go down. So that's, you're going to kind of want to not put the plate on the conveyor belt if you can handle it. You kind of want to like get the stuff that you need away from the conveyor belt. You want to set it up there so you don't bring the plate. Pick up the rice, pick up this, and then pick up the thing that was being chopped over here, and then go. Right? That's the idea there. Yes, I want to. Okay, and that's all of World 1. We'll go to World 2. The 2-1. They kind of trying to tell you to, you need to throw stuff. With this one, when you have a really good partner, what you do is your player 1 side, which is the one that's all the way at the bottom, you want to throw as much stuff as possible to that person. As much. had, you know, 2 or more players who first were chopping for second mission. You want to throw much stuff. Literally throw as much as you possibly can. The catch is the person on this side, up on top, they shouldn't be throwing you all of that stuff back immediately. Okay? The person up on top should actually be paying attention to the orders and throwing the person on the bottom only what they need. Okay? So imagine like you had a whole bunch of stuff that was over here, like being chopped. You would just hold that chopped stuff until you actually serve. This is another great example of making sure that you stack the plates and you're serving. Because the fire extinguisher also just takes up it takes up 1 counter space with stuff. There. So it would be great to get part of the fire extinguisher most of the time. Of course, if you're prone to burning, it's also entirely possible to throw that directly. If you want to put the stuff on a stack immediately, you can just serve something else. You don't have a tip. There's no tip, so I'm just throwing it up front. But also for the double orders, obviously, you can play it that's it. Okay. So again, the second player on the top there is going to be paying attention to the orders and only throwing down what is needed. The person on the bottom is going to be throwing just a ton of stuff. They don't even need the kit. It doesn't matter what they throw. Just make sure it's a whole bunch of both, and that's the strategy. And that happens a lot in many of the stages where you just want to throw a lot of food to get to it later, because there's areas of the stage that you won't be able to get to after a while. So like this one's a good example where the middle raft will shift back and forth, where it'll be difficult to get stuff on the left and right. Here, this one. So big thing about this one is you want to throw lots and lots of soft pasta. Literally anytime you're over here, pasta. And then you also want to throw a whole bunch of meats into the middle. Okay. And then you can start chopping. Again, pots and pans, you can switch these. So it might be helpful for you to go ahead and put both pots up on top and both pans at the bottom. That can be helpful. Additionally, what's also important for you to know is you'll always be able to get the chopping boards, no matter where the raft is. Back here, a little bit. Now you'll notice I didn't do this in order, and it's actually totally because it's coming up. That order is definitely going to happen, so I don't have to worry about it. Get in there. Kill him. Okay. This up. This here. Now this is going to be finished cooking by the time it's done. So again, put it right next to it. We put it on the floor, no big deal. Serve this. Now the person that's on the right on this stage doesn't ever actually go all the way to serve unless there's like, no time left. So you want to just leave the stuff that needs to be served in the middle, because sometimes the raft will be like this and it'll be impossible to serve. So you want to make sure that you have, you just like leave the stuff here so that this person who is just chopping can go ahead and grab this stuff. the other thing that's super important here is that you only have plates. So the same problem as before. If you can double serve here, that would be great. So you can go ahead and get more plates here. It's very common for you to not have enough plates in this thing, because you'd be cooking lots and lots of stuff. Done here. And that's the general gist. Again, you're going to be basically staging everything in this center area here, so that the person chopping will serve. Okay. And then the person on the right is basically preparing. Go ahead and grab the dish, get something up, grab the stuff that's being cut over here. Grab that, bring this up here. And then, yeah, you only have, 10 seconds left. Get this guy out of here. Make it so that it's very easy for this person to serve. You may see people just kind of die at the end of stages. And that's not just to be funny all the time. That's actually to remove yourself from the equation of trying to serve the last dish. Because it's very common for avatars that don't know what to do. They're like, oh God, it's 10 seconds left. I'm not sure what to do. The best thing for you to do if you don't know what to do is to die. It's a terrible thing to say. But the best thing for you to do is to remove yourself from the equation and don't get in the way of the person who's trying to serve. Right? If there's a person who literally has, the food on their plate, they're ready to serve, it's just you have to get out of the way. That's the best thing to do, is to just remove yourself from the equation, jump off the ledge, and get yourself out of the kitchen so that the person who's actually trying to serve, trying to finish that last dish, has a clear path. It also totally helps if you had stuff that was on the ground previously to throw that away from the service. If it has to be, against the wall or through a pit or whatever, just clear that path for that last person to serve. All right, so 2-3. 2-3 is the place where you really learn how to do the plate throwing, because clearly what happens in this stage is you're waiting for this raft to go back and forth, and it takes a really long time. So if you get the plate throwing technique down here, it'll be really helpful. Now, I don't know if I'm going to actually get a lot here right now. Also, by the way, there are 2 chopping boards. Person over here for chopping. Excuse me. When you play with a partner, it's absolutely possible for you to actually get all 4 plates on this raft eating. So now what I have to do is I have to get my characters. All right, so the idea here, and also another thing actually when you try to do the plate toss, you want to make sure that sometimes what happens is the plate will wind up on this countertop. If you have something right here, even the fire extinguisher will be fine, then it won't wind up on there and you'll want to work across. So we're going to try and see what happens here. Okay, so I didn't get it there because it's very hard for me to do. What has to happen here is I need to do the dash drop, I need to switch characters, and then I need to pick up the plate as it's dropping. See, I hit the trigger twice. That's what I have to do here. I have to drop, and I can pick up. So, your partner has to actually pick up the plate as it's falling. That's the hard part. You have to really have that coordination. Okay. And it's really challenging, but if for one person to do. But for 2 people, you could obviously see, like, the person could be like, okay, I'm ready with the food, and then your other player could be like, okay, I'm ready over here, and then you can do the hook and try it, and then actually throw. So, but that's how you get this to move fast. It is definitely easier to throw, or I should say easier. It's definitely less risk to throw clean plates back. Because if you throw a clean plate back and it doesn't go all the way, they miss it, then what will happen there is it'll just actually wind up at the sink. That guy real quick. Because the reason that they're respawning here is they've never been served. You really also want to be super close to this ledge over here, all the way across. Okay, so again, that hasn't been served yet. But if this just drops, okay, so that's the plate that just dropped. That'll just respawn the sink. Alright? So it's not a big deal when you throw clean plates that are from the sink over, because they'll just respawn after 5 seconds. You'll be right here, and you can try again. Okay? So that's how the stage gets faster. Again, you could go ahead and move these pots and pans. They're so close it doesn't really matter, but a really nice thing to do is just go boop, boop, pick up a lot of stuff and go. And that's it. And, oh, the last thing about the stage is after about 20 seconds, if you're trying to do it the rapid way, without throwing, there's absolutely no way for you to serve whatever final dishes that you have. The best thing you can do is put the pots and the pans that have cooked stuff on them that are missing plates on the raft that's traveling across, and then the person that was washing dishes can pick up from those pots and pans. But at the end, in the last 20 seconds, again, it's impossible to serve anything without throwing stuff on. And again, it's 20 seconds. What else, is there left to do other than throw plates back? All right, so now we're going to go into the mines. 2-4. This is one of the places where I actually recommend not to switch the pots and pans. You can do that, and I've seen people do it, but I don't recommend it. There is a very clean strategy here. It's very similar to 1-3, where you're going to throw items back and forth to your partner. So over here on the right-hand side, you want to make sure that you throw rice to the left. Okay, start chopping. And then for this person over here, you're going to obviously throw rice in here, throw mushrooms. Okay, when rice is done over here, take a tortilla, put it on. Okay, and then more rice. Okay, I've seen lots of people putting tortillas on plates for no reason. Also, make sure all the plates are over here. Some rice. Rice. Big plate. Yes, sir. Plate. There. Plate. Mushrooms here. You'll also notice that the time hasn't started. So you can prepare as much as you want. And one of the best things to do, of course, is to prepare lots of these burritos. Lots of stuff with the rice and burritos. That's all you need. Make sure you have lots and lots of rice over here. This person, make sure you have lots chopped. You can also chop faster and wash this stuff. Take a plate, take a burrito, it's literally right here. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to stop preparing stuff right here, but this is the general thing. Okay. The next thing you can do is you can absolutely double serve here. Let's stop it. Other than being bad. So now you'll notice that I have lots and lots of these burritos kind of hanging out. The next thing you want to do is you want to take your dirty plates and wash. plate is washed over here. You're going to pick up a meat. Okay, there's a meat over here right now. And then take it over here and drop it. Okay? That's it. That's all you need to do. Take the meat, put it over here and drop it. The person that's over here making these burritos, right? They take that thing, pick it up, put it on a plate, and serve it. Okay? That's it. The person over here can stay on the left, or on the right. Start chopping stuff. And, they can just make meats, right? And this person over here can go ahead and grab these dishes. They can even drop the dishes over here, or you can take them all the way over here in the sink. Because there's nothing for this person to do other than make rice and serve. So there's nothing for them to serve over here. Then all they need to do is that. Meanwhile, the person who's chopping should be chopping and washing the dishes. Chopping, washing the dishes. Done washing the dish. Again, take this over, drop it over here, come back. This person here, plate. Okay, that's how this stage works. That's it. Okay, stay on your side, do your job, no one gets hurt. Mine stages, the caverns there, are notoriously a little bit more challenging than some of the other stages. So like, here's, you know, kind of a level up from what we were just doing. The gimmick here is that your ingredients will disappear from the left and right sides. So the way that you want to go ahead and approach this is you want to throw out as much of the ingredients as possible to the right place. So for example, you want to throw all these meats over here to the chopper. All the meats, everything. Additionally, you want to throw all the rice over here. Okay? Lots of rice. The last thing you want to do is, maybe you won't be able to do it right now. The last thing you want to do is you want to take these burritos and you want to have the burritos out. The last thing you want to do is you want to take these burritos and throw them in. Some of them are going to go on the sink, and that's going to be really annoying on the sink. But it'll at least get you all those things prepared on this side. Then the person who's chopping, go ahead and start cooking. Okay? Meat next. The person on top, rice. Bottoms, go ahead and prepare this stuff. Okay, let's go over. The other thing that's important here as well is that you do not put meat in a burrito by itself. Just don't do it, okay? If the meat is cooked and it's not ready to be put on anything, put the pan down or put it on the floor. Okay? Leave it alone. Right? Only when you have something else to serve. So what's going to happen is I have a couple burritos. I have a couple burritos, okay, that are ready to go. And what's going to happen is the person on top is going to grab these 30 plates, bring it over here, and wash. The person's washing. What they're going to do is after they're done washing, they're going to put a burrito on a plate, move over here, set it next. That's all they're going to do. Put it over this area. If they could serve something great, right, whatever, fine. But that's the idea, is you don't want to move a clean plate with nothing on it over here. It doesn't make any sense. Pick up the basically an almost completed thing and bring it over so that all it needs is meat and served. Okay? Do not, like I said, do not take a burrito here and put meat on it. It doesn't help. Okay? You'll always get stuff that's like, oh, I need rice. Shoot, let me go all the way back over here, get rice, put it on a plate. Shoot, there's no plates. Like, that's what's going to happen, okay? So if you just kind of put everything together properly, right? Put the rice cooking, put a burrito, mix the rice. Okay, when it's done, put it on a plate, move it over, and then eat it. Okay, it's very simple. Keep things to your sides. Okay, just like that. All right, that's the number one thing I see all the time is that when people are making burritos, they will just put random ingredients together. And each one of the kitchens has a way to prepare these dishes in the most optimal way so that you can go ahead and just be ready for whatever order comes next. All right, 2-6. 2-6 is, yeah, turntable. So we'll be making burgers here. And one of the things you need to know about burgers, very similar to the burritos, is that you could pick up a cooked burger with the bun. All right? So that's really important to know because you don't need a plate. You could just have whatever plates you want. If I also remember correctly, time doesn't start here either. So you can go ahead and make as many burgers as you want over here. No problem. Like I mentioned as well, you want to go ahead and just stack all the plates. So you have to serve. It's great. It's fine. You can see the time doesn't start because I didn't actually serve it. I didn't serve any good order. But yeah, you want to throw a whole bunch of these meats over there. Now, if you end up trapped over here, okay, what you can do is you can just fall off the edge. You'll respawn back where you started. All right. That's also important for you to know because sometimes you get trapped and you're like, oh shit, what do we do? Well, what you do is you just fall off the edge. When the turntable is in this position, though, you can just go around this side. Just like that. See, now I have burgers that are just ready to go, that don't need to, they don't need to be on a plate. There's no reason for them to be on a plate. Clearly, I also eat cheese. I'll have a whole bunch of cheese. You always want to make sure that there's somebody on the inside. That'll be very helpful. Fire extinguishers moving away. I actually like to stage the cheese over here most of the time, just so that as I'm about to serve something, I can just grab the cheese from there and go. And that's the general gist. You're going to be making a whole bunch of burgers. Again, make the burgers kind of naked without a plate, so to speak, so that all you need to do is while you have people wash the dishes, just put the plate on a burger, okay, and then you can take the burger around and you can serve it. Okay, next person can go ahead and eat the burger. And this one needs cheese, no problem. Let me just go grab cheese that's up here. Don't move the burger around. And, right? That's all you need to do. Burger, cheese, burger. You can see I have one burgers that are stuck up there, which is bad news. But you would normally have someone on the inside that would be getting the burgers and putting them down. And that's the idea. Okay? And that's it for World 2. Go back to the throne room to mine. Okay. So this is another stage that actually is really good to use, like basically all the techniques that I was just talking about. first off, in this stage, you'll be making pizzas for the first time for Overcooked 2, and the time does not start until you serve the first dish. Luckily, all the dishes here are plain pizzas. So the thing that you need to do here is throw lots of ingredients to your partner. Right, go all the way up here. And it is absolutely critical for you to take stuff off the chopping boards. Absolutely critical. Okay? If you don't do it, there's not enough room for the person to do the next thing. Another thing you can do is you can stage stuff that's kind of partially done away from the chopping boards. Okay? That'll also be super helpful so that there's enough room for stuff that actually needs to be chopped to be on the chopping board. Okay? Again, like I said, you can see the time has not started. So now this thing needs to be in the oven. Okay? I can pass it to my partner, put it in the oven, chop. I should have done that. Alright. Also pay attention because this is a place where you cannot just die to get in the wrong spot. You have to wait. If you're on the wrong side. So that's no good. So just always make sure that you have enough room. Now, the other thing, of course, too, is you can just throw a whole bunch of stuff over your partner here, so you never need to be on that side. But in certain places, you know, it'll be much more helpful for one person to be on one side, one person to be on the other. Like I said, you can make lots and lots of pieces here all the time in the world. There. Another thing you can do is you can stage the peaches up here. You're about to serve. I've definitely seen people stage and put pieces made practically everywhere. Every available counter space. There will be a point where you basically have no more room. So you'll have to basically start serving at that point and still continue to make pizzas. Another important thing is that dough is the base, so you want to try to chop the dough first. Okay. I don't know why I'm making this. But I also want to show you this is a great place to do double serve. Also, it's important not to put anything where the counter will stop. So you can see right in that corner right there, it's very common for a tomato, or I should say really a pizza, to be stuck in these corners where you wouldn't be able to get it. Okay. Alright, so now this is also a great place for you to go ahead and try double serve. Because everything's the same. Like that. Okay? And then you'll get extra plates. Here it comes. Again, more people watching will make the plates go faster. Again, because this is the same order over and over again. Double serving will never have you break tip. Double serve. And also make sure that you don't drop it too early, otherwise it'll go right in the trash. And that's all you need to know. Okay. So that was 3-1. Let's look at 3-2. Some of the stages, if you tell me the number, I can remember what the stage layout is. But for some of them, I certainly can't. So like the next stage, I don't know what this one looks like. I'm sure you can see it. If I only have 3 stars on it, it's definitely a little bit of a challenge. So, but I actually have learned a couple of different techniques in here since doing this one that would certainly absolutely help out. one of the main things that I see people do here is bring plates from the top right back down to pick up a burger. Do not do that. Once you have used all the plates that are over here, just bring completed burgers from here to the right and serve because the plates are right there. So the thing that I want to show you is that what happens sometimes is, first off, you can't throw meat all the way up these stairs. They'll just stop at the stairs. So what happens sometimes is you want to get to the top of the stairs, throw the meat, come down, come up, come down, come up, continue to do this. But what you can do instead is you can have someone stand right here, okay? And you can throw from here, and they can actually, I've seen it happen where people can actually catch them. See? Right like that. You can catch them right there. So you can have a person down here throwing stuff to the person up top, okay? They're in the right spot, right in that corner, okay? And you can grab stuff, see? Right like that. There's a sweet spot. The other thing you can, of course, do as well is if you have a person here, okay, they can also grab it from here. It's much easier, but you're really close to the ledge, so it's a lot easier to, fall in the pit. Okay. So that's the thing you need to pay attention to. But like I said, what's going to happen is you're going to be serving stuff. Okay, let's say there's a burger on this thing. Coming in here, you can serve. You can serve. Again, because there's no dishwasher, plates are going to be clean right there on the right-hand side. Okay. We're going to make a burger. Slow it down. So next thing also is really important is to make sure you have enough buns for people making stuff down there. So throw a whole bunch of buns, and the person down here should be kind of like cleaning up the area so you have plenty of room to see stuff. But yeah, here's a completed burger right here, no plate. Right? Come over here, put it on a plate, serve it. Okay? Don't bring a plate back down here. Completely stupid. Don't do it. Okay? Another thing that's important to know, the portals, you can throw things through the portals. Okay? Which is actually super helpful when the stairs are on the opposite side. Okay? So not only can you throw things through the portal, you can also drop things through the portal. So you can see I'm dropping meat through the portal in. Okay? So that means like a plate. I can throw the plate through the portal as well if I really wanted. See? There it goes. Fire extinguisher through there. Another plate. Throw things. You can see that this is going to be super helpful when stairs move. Okay, so stairs move right now. You can see the shake. Okay. So now, when I'm over on this side, I can go ahead and throw cheese. Like, for example, through that portal to my partner who's chopping everything. Okay. That. If I'm uncomfortable throwing this stuff or he's not ready for the meat, I can throw meat over to him going this way. And all that person's doing over on the left side is chopping. That's all they're doing. Chopping and throwing to the center. And this runner is just giving them all the ingredients they need and serving stuff. And that's the idea. Okay? That's how you do it. And like I said, I learned about these techniques more recently, so I haven't been able to return 4 stars there. I was actually very close. I was only 5 points away from 4-starring it. And I'm sure my partner was able to do it now, knowing that stuff. Okay. 3-3. So 3-3, you're making pizzas again, but the trick here is that some of the pizzas will require sausage. The other trick here, of course, is that you will be closed off from either the left and the right or the top and the bottom based on, where these boxes are. First thing you want to do is put these plates at the bottom. No reason for them to be on the top. Same thing with the fire extinguisher. Actually, the fire extinguisher is a great place for that. Right in the center, as long as you don't put things in the fire. The next thing you really want to do is you want to throw out as much of these ingredients as possible out of these boxes, because these boxes move, and it's really annoying to try to grab stuff and wait for the box to stop moving. So just throw a whole bunch of stuff out. Here. Okay? Throw a whole bunch of stuff out so you can get all that stuff whenever you need it. Okay, so the boxes are moving. I don't care. I have plenty of stuff right here. Okay? It does not matter. Another thing that's really important, of course, you should decide between yourselves who's going to stay on the top and the left, who's going to stay on the bottom and the right. The person on the bottom, down here, is clearly in charge of making sure that the pieces do not burn. There are ovens on both sides, okay? And they're also, of course, in charge of making sure that the dirty dishes that wind up here end up on this side, okay? When the stage is in the configuration that's about to go in, right, clearly the person on the left is in charge of this oven and washing plates. The person on the right is in charge of this oven and making sure that the plates that are dirty are washed, and also making sure that the stuff is served, okay? This is another place you can double serve if you can, because there's, you know, a couple of different things that are, you know, double. So like the first order right there, example, is double. And then additionally, you want to try to prioritize chopping the dough first, because it is a base. Because it's a base, you can put other ingredients on top of it and start, you know, taking up only one counter space tile. That's super important because you don't want to have ingredients difficult to pile. Okay, so again, I want to go ahead and prioritize dough first. Then when a piece is done, I can go ahead and put it in the oven. Next, I'll put this one inside. Chopping block. Start chopping. Prioritize dough, and when it's done chopping, take it off the chopping block immediately. Go. Plates right here in the center, right here. Okay. You'll always be able to get to them right there. But you get the idea. Okay? Alright? Again, it's much easier with a partner to, you know, have one person paying attention to one job, the other person paying attention to the other. Some of the world records that only have one person are incredible to watch. Just like, you know, balance what both avatars are doing at any one point in time to make sure that you are using time efficiently. It's amazing. 3-4 is a favorite of mine. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you could do in here. But I'm going to tell you about the setup first. So the setup is that the plates should always be in the top center. So currently there's no plates in the top center. The person on the right-hand side should be moving these plates. So first off, the first thing that the person on the right is going to do is throw them. Okay, you need to start cooking. Okay. Next thing they're going to do is they're going to move these plates right through there. And they're going to start throwing some other ingredients. Not the lettuce. Okay. Now you're going to cook. Clearly, in this stage, you would bring both people over there to help. I have a whole bunch of stuff over here. Okay, let's do this. Plate. Move it up. So like I said, it's very uncommon for there to be two people over here. The only reason I'm doing that right now is just to get a couple of things cooking. Go back. Okay. So when you have something that's ready, throw it to the corner. Okay. If you don't do it the first time, try it again. We'll eventually go. That's the thing you don't want to do. You don't want to go through with it. So So all I did there was I used a little bit of momentum of me walking. I didn't even dash. A little bit of momentum walking, and I just dropped it. See, you get a little bit more of a push, and you'll be able to get that thing. Okay? The person on this side, their job is to look at the orders on the top and give the person on the left whatever stuff that they need to prepare the next thing. Okay? This also happens. Back through. Also, do not bring anything that's not done. That burger should have been done. You should have a burger that still needs stuff, being a staging area, basically right here. And then when it has all the stuff that it needs, so it would be the lettuce and the tomato. Okay. Now, while this person is doing that, they're going to be the runner. So they're going to go ahead and grab the dirty dishes. You can also throw these dirty dishes off, like that, with a drop dash. Have other players that will be helpful. So it might be helpful to have one person in the center, kind of like, grabbing the dirty dishes or grabbing the stuff that gets thrown out of the portal, putting them on a dish. That can be super helpful. And then when the dishes are done, they'll bring a dish right up here and then place it so that when this thing goes as a burger, grab that. Okay? And you just keep doing that. The person on the left stays on the left. All they're doing is chopping and preparing stuff, preparing burgers. Right? And it could absolutely be an absolute nightmare worth of stuff. But if you're doing your job, if you're making sure that everything is chopped and cooking and being staged over here, and you're really on top of it, you should be fine. Okay, so like example, we can stage a couple of things over here. We can stage that bun over there. We can start chopping this thing. While that's happening, this person over here is taking attention to orders. They're going to clean the plates. As the plate is clean, they're going to bring it up. Okay, this here. This. Serve it. Boom. Right? That's the idea. It's pivotal for the second player person to be paying attention to the orders and throwing exactly what the person needs to the left. All right, 3-5, I don't like. I do not like this level. But I'm going to show you a couple of tricks. First off, move the fire extinguisher. You want to move the fire extinguisher. The next thing you actually want to do, especially as a first player person, which is going to be on the right-hand side, you want to try to move these plates over as fast as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and suicide myself. That's the best thing to kind of like do here, because by the time the person who's chopping on this side actually has food chopped, you'll have an order ready, and you'll have no plates. So, a couple things to note here: you can move across when these things are like this. Okay. So that it's totally possible to grab stuff from like the corners or the edges. This is an absolutely wonderful place to try to do double serving, even if you break tip, because there's only 2 plates. The big gimmick here is that there isn't plates. So it's very difficult because you'll have like, the double order of the chicken and fries. You'll have, lots of different orders that you could be cooking. You have no plates. You'll be waiting for plates to be washed, and waiting for the wraps to get there. So it's really great for you to double serve here if you have the ability. Okay. So if you do double serve here, this is absolutely the place. Sometimes it'll be absolutely beneficial for you to not go the whole distance across and just get the person to hand off the plate. So you don't have to go all the way to the sink to wash the plate and come all the way back. Like, use your partner as a partner. Okay, have them come over, drop the plate, and come back. Okay, they don't need to do the serving. They can just drop the plate, and then you can have them go to your other friend, the area the person will serve. This is just a reset message, but this is the hardest thing about this. Trying to get this stuff, you know, to work. Because trying to get these plates over back and forth is the hardest part about this level. Getting food back and forth across is not hard. It's just throw, right? It's not a big deal. But if you want, you could double serve here. Then it's going to be super helpful. Another thing that's really janky about this is that sometimes you can't throw across the counter. I'm trying to throw. It's not helpful. So sometimes you'll need to do like a little bit of a diagonal throw, like here. So you gotta find a sweet spot, unfortunately, sometimes to get those stuff to throw. And that's all I'll tell you about this level. Again, I do not like it. It's not fun. Because of, like I said, the janky throwing, only 2 plates, you know, the rafts not being where you want them to be, getting caught against the corners of the countertops and falling in. Like, there's so many different things that are just not fun about that stage that I like to avoid not playing. All right, where are we? Going up to 3-6. Last one of the stage. Again, only 3 stars. This is another transitional kitchen. The first part of this is actually very challenging, but the second part of it is actually pretty easy. It actually becomes easier. It's the same thing as the first burrito level that we came across, because the idea behind this one is you want to make rice and burritos with plates all the way here on the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to kind of keep throwing it until I get it. This is a great example of just throwing as much food as you possibly can into an area. Okay. And those together. So this is what this person is doing down here. Is they're going to be putting together burritos with rice and tortilla, putting it on a plate, okay, and having it ready for the person on top who's just chopping and cooking. Like I said, it's the exact same thing as that earlier level of cooking. It is not anything different other than this weird, moving platform, which halfway through the stage, this will all change and become, again, much easier because the platform won't move as quickly. Okay, once that's done, we can move it over here. Notice it did not put it on a plate, there's no reason to. And actually, what I do is So, from this point on here, what you should be doing is, I've obviously made anything wrong. But what should be happening is I should have someone, either you put the plate on the middle, or you put the plate over here. As you can see, it's the middle left. One actually put the plate here somehow. But you have a rice, tortilla, and a plate. Pick up the meat, serve. Okay, so we'll move over here very shortly. Again, rice, tortilla, plate, pick the meat, serve. That's all this is. There's nothing else to it. Okay, person over here is just in charge of the meat. Person down here is in charge of making sure that there's rice, tortilla, and plate. Okay, so you pop over there. It's also a great place to stage this stuff. Over here. this. Put all this together, just like this here. Drop it up on top. Okay? One of these. Drop it up on top. If there's something to serve, maybe, sure, serve it. If there isn't something to serve, just drop it here. You don't have to wait. Just go ahead and drop it there. It's fine. Just like that. That's all this is. Like I said, the first part of this is actually very challenging because the raft moves so far that you'll be in a spot where you just can't do anything. But in other things, it'll be fun. The rafts are always together and they're always available to be. Okay. And that's it for World 3. This is similar to the sushi stages from before. Again, not everything needs rice, so do not put rice on stuff. However, it's important to get the stuff off of the conveyors. The most important stuff to get off the conveyors is going to be the rice. Okay, here the rice. Okay, the nori or the seaweed. Okay, and the fish and the shrimp on the right-hand side. There will be more need for what's it called? Fish than there will be for shrimp. Just keep the rice cooking. If something does not need rice, put it to the side. It's okay. You know? Now, meanwhile, your partner's going to be doing a lot of running. You want to throw the fish over there. You see there's no shrimp needed, so I'm just going to leave that shrimp over there. I like to put the fire extinguisher, oh god, in the middle. Okay. Yeah, put it down. No big deal. You'll notice that my avatar that was in the center here did not get hit by a car. You can throw things into the center, like this, and it'll not be hit by a car. Meanwhile, if you throw it here, on the other side, okay, that will probably get hit by a car. So, what you want to do, see, got hit by a car? What you want to do is you want to throw from behind. You don't want to throw from front. Okay? So that'll be important. Excuse me. Now we're going to serve a couple. Now you're going to pick up the plates, come over here, and wash. If there's anything in the dishwasher, the sink, take it out before you wash dishes. And then both of you now can wash dishes and make it faster. Clearly, there's NPCs here that are ruining my life, but that's really what's going on here. Pay attention to the orders. Make sure that if you're not doing anything over here on the left, that something is being chopped. People over here on the right can also chop too. That'll be super helpful. But many of the dishes will need fish, so make sure that you stay prioritizing grabbing the fish and bringing it over. Not many of the things will need shrimp, but every once in a while you need more shrimp. Okay, that's it. I'm going to try to move quick through these ones, since we basically covered most of the stuff. That's another stage where double serving is very, very difficult, if not impossible, because the counter is very close to the service. Additionally, you're absolutely going to break tip there, because it's very, very uncommon for the same portion. 4-2 is another raft stage. And the key thing here is, while you could double serve, there isn't a lot of counter space. You'll want to be very, very clear about who's going to be on what side. However, it is entirely possible, if you have more than 2 people, for the person down here to get to the top. So in a 3-person stage for this, have a 3-person team, you want to try to get the person the extra person that's down the bottom to get up on top. Again, I've never done it. I've just seen it being done. So there's some way of doing it somehow. Okay, you can see they can really get across there. Additionally, notice there are 2 chopping stations. There's one up here, and then there's one down here. So it's entirely possible for a person to just go ahead and throw the ingredients that the person needs, right? And let them chop it themselves. Okay? Pay attention to the plates. It's important if you ever see dirty plates over here, get them over to the partner and be washing as fast as possible. Alright? And that's the general gist here. Other than that, it's very, very chaotic because you want to make sure that you have enough counter space over here. So if there's something burning, put it on the floor. Make sure you have enough counter space to put stuff on plates and that stuff. It's not a big deal. But up over on the bottom here, you will constantly have enough room for stuff. Okay, so if you want to help out the person on top, chop a whole bunch of stuff on the bottom down here and hold it for the person on top. Because the person on top has to wash the dishes, right? And cook and make sure things aren't burning and give you food and chop. There's like a lot of stuff that the person can be doing on top here. That's why it's so important to try to go ahead and sneak up on top there if you can. And that's all I'm saying. Like I said, if you take a look at some of the world record videos for this, you will see people get up to the top side over there, especially the 3-person teams. You will see that. Very important. Or 3. I actually really like this with 3 people. Because you'll have one person on the left, one person on the right, and one person manning the cooking stations. With 2 people, the person on the right can man the cooking stations, but it's really great to have a dedicated person on the burners. Right from the beginning of the stage, you want to throw cheese into this post. You want to kind of line it up so that the cheese hits the post and goes right onto the conveyor belt. That'll pile all the cheese into that corner, so that when the person gets over there to start actually chopping, they'll have plenty of cheese. You have the cheese go back. Okay, because cheese is like very common. Right now there's actually nothing that needs cheese, and you want to roast the ones. Okay. When the stage shakes, that means that the conveyor belts are going to change direction. I've also seen people put a lettuce in this one. The reason that they do that is so that when you throw this meat across, it doesn't go into the area that's not cooked. Across. I'm also going to let it burn, just to let you know, because I want to show you what happens. That it's in that nice little spot there. So that nice little spot, if I was to pick that up with a bun, right? If I was to get a bun over here, if I was to pick that up with a bun, right, like this, it would just go right into that and start cooking. Okay. So that's the general gist here. Another thing you could certainly do is you can drop stuff on the conveyor belts for them to go back. It's really helpful for the plates. For example, if I drop this conveyor belt and dash back, I can set the plates off that way, instead of trying to put plates from here and try to get them over here. Because this spot right here is a bottleneck. Because you're going to be having the burgers and putting the burgers here for the person over here to pick them up. want to like have this area very clean and only have burgers. So once you actually grab this burger from this person, you want to put this like away. Right? Grab the next thing over here, away, boom. Right? You want to have this super clean. And if you see some of the world record stuff as well, you see people like be able to wash the dishes while on the conveyor belt. I have no idea how they're doing that. They're just like in a prime spot. I have no idea how that works. But if you could do that, great. Right, where am I going? I'm going down to 4. 4-4 is annoying, but it's simple. The general gist for this one, again, is there's not a lot of counter space, so you want to kind of make sure that you have a plate that you're ready to serve. Okay, so any plates that you're going to be washing, you want to go ahead and make sure they just stack in the sink. So you could go against it by dashing. It's obviously faster to go with the wind than it is to go against it, so if you can pay attention to which thing is going which way, great. You absolutely want to try to throw the food into these fires and like I said, just stack these plates by the sink, and when you're ready to serve, really simple, just try to pay attention to which one is faster. Try to go with the wind, not against it. That'll be super helpful. Try to throw stuff into the burners, cookers. Moving right along. 4-5, I think, is the one. Yeah, this is the one. It's also very slow, but there's a very interesting hack that you can do in this stage. So, a couple of things. Obviously, there's only 2 plates. Double serving would be awesome to get as many plates as possible here. I highly recommend double serving here to get these plates. Absolutely. Okay, and I'll even do it right here. Try it. The next thing is it's very common, of course, to go ahead and hit the button to go ahead and move these plates back and forth. I recommend not doing that. I recommend trying to do this, where you're going to actually drop dash through the button. See that? It teleported right through. And that's the trick here. The trick here is that you don't need to wait for these conveyor belts to move this stuff. You can actually drop dash right through these areas as long as there's something in the way. Okay. You can put something on this button, like this. There you go. So now, I can just go ahead and do this. It works better this way. Plate. It might also be helpful again to actually fill up the space here, so like if I put something right here, so it has nowhere else to go. That's also super helpful. You know, so it's serve. I'm gonna try double serve here. But yeah, you want to try to double serve here, absolutely. And that's it. That's the trick with this stage, is kind of put these things on these buttons. Oh, by the way, how to put things on the buttons. Hold something, and you're going to drop dash on the button. Okay? And there it goes. It'll eventually get there. All right? That's the trick here, is you want to go ahead and drop dash the button. Sometimes that'll happen. That's okay. Just reset. I wasn't hitting the button. But you get the idea. That's going to speed up the serving tremendously, right? Because you're no longer waiting for the person to hit the button, for the plates to come through the conveyor belt. It just takes so long. I've definitely gotten 6 or 7 or 8, even 8 plates double serving in this stage, and it's so helpful to just keep having those plates, keep going. And clearly, obviously you need the person on the bottom to be chopping food as well, but that's just part of the course. 4-6. 4-6 is very challenging because there's a lot of moving pieces. One of the things that you can do here, which I've tried and I have mixed success with, is you could switch a pot and a pan so that you could always prepare food on one side or the other. I don't usually like doing that. I actually like keeping everything where it is, personally. But what I do like to do is actually set up all the stuff over here, just like that. And I will also take the meats here and have them on the floor. What's going to happen is on this side, on the left, is your chop block's going to appear eventually. Now technically there's a chop block on the right because the things that are on the left switch to the right side, and the things on the right switch to the left side. That was the but you can see what I've done here is I've set it up so that when I finish the rice, right, I can just take a plate, everything completed, over here, pick up this, and then serve, right? Okay. So that's what I've kind of set myself up to do over here. But that's not what you do the whole time, because what's going to happen is, show you. What's going to happen is plates will be at this sink over here. Okay. So now what's going to happen, of course, is there will be plates at the sink. So these plates that will be at the sink over here, you want to get across to over there. You could go and go against the conveyor belt. That's totally fine. But you want to keep these plates at the sink. Okay? And what you're going to do here and set it up so that you're cooking on the left side and this guy over here on the right is preparing burritos. Okay? And as this person is cooking stuff, they can come around, pick up a burrito, come over here, pick this up over here. Okay, we'll just wait for this to show you what's going on. Pick that up, on a plate, serve. That's the idea, okay? You want the person on the right-hand side, person on the right-hand side, they're in charge of whatever's over here, okay? And in this particular case, it's going to be the rice. Switch pots and pans, whatever it is. They're in charge of this stuff over here. They're going to be preparing rice and tortilla, okay, and then setting them right here. It's done, goes right here. Okay. Person on the left, they're in charge of these cooking stuff here and washing these plates. All right, anybody can take a plate, go over here, and drop it off. Leave. Okay, anybody can do that. Okay? So you can do it over here, if you're serving or whatever. Right, over here, you do that if you want. As long as you have meat ready to go. Okay. It is very complicated, but it's a great idea to, again, start storing stuff on the floor so that you can grab it later, because you don't want, to wait for the wrong train to appear. So just grab what you need and place it on the floor, and then move right along. And that's it for World 4. Moving right along here. Alright, let's go to 5. Get a ramp here. 5 up here. This is one of my favorite stages. Because it has a couple of really interesting things that you could optimize. The first thing you want to do is the person on the right-hand side as soon as possible. Okay? I don't know which way I am. You need to get off the raft as soon as possible and start chopping stuff. The person on the left is going to take the whole raft, move to the left, and start cooking. I'm also going to prepare whatever things need sushi on the top, they can prepare whatever needs sushi. Okay? Once you have these pots empty, they should never be empty. You should always have something in them. At the beginning here, what is really helpful to do is drop this stuff off over here and get it off the raft as soon as possible. Because this person needs this raft to make sure that, what's it called? That you have all the stuff in. Okay? So, when you have a hamburger, okay, that needs to be cooked, put the hamburger on the raft at any point in time. Okay? If you're chopping a hamburger and it's chopped, always put it on the raft as long as there's enough room to put on the raft. If you have cooked rice that's here, take it off. Okay? Nori off, and make sure that this raft has only stuff that this person needs on. Okay? So you can stay over here, person on the raft, bring it back. Now you might be asking yourself, well, these rice pots are over here. That's not going to be helpful for the person on the left, because they need these rice pots. Well, what you can do with these rice pots is you can toss them into the river. Okay? So pick up this. Okay, let's go up here. That's it. Drop it in. Drop it in. This here. See that? They are respawned back where I need them to be. I can just go ahead and bring this guy back. Additionally, anytime you have 2 rice pots, you want to bring 2 noris, no matter what. But that's the idea here. You want to be able to have all the stuff that you need. If you don't have enough time, that's fine. Just take it all back and get back onto your side so this person can get back to cooking. Okay? Serve that forward. That's okay. Again, pick up the rice, pick up the nori, pot in the ground, in the river, so they can consume, right? That's all you want to do. With a bun. Once you have that, you can always put it on the counter. Right. Serve. The river. Okay. That's what you want. Always clean up the raft. The raft has to have everything removed from it. If it's cooked rice that you need, but you don't have a plate, just take the pot off, put it on the ground, wait for the clean plate, and then throw the the pot back in the river. Just respawn over on the left-hand side, and you'll be fine. Okay? The person on the left is always controlling the left. 5-2. 5-2 is a really fun level. One of the most important things is to actually have someone on fire extinguisher duty, because what'll happen, especially in the last minute of the stage, is the fire extinguisher will be pivotal in you trying to serve stuff because there'll be too much fire on the left-hand side. The idea here is that you want to be making burgers, and you can be making as many burgers as you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this to show you what's supposed to happen. But you can obviously keep the burgers. So, you want to be washing these dishes, obviously, but you want to have these dishes stacked. Because you can do burger, okay? And then the person on the other side, over here, take that burger from this side with a plate and serve it. Boom. Just like that. Very simple. Okay, I see people, taking plates off and putting them down, and just like, why? There's no reason for it. The only thing you need to do, okay, is when you finish a burger, right? Let's say I finish this burger over here, right? And the person is on this right-hand side. I drop the thing here, okay? And the person on the left-hand side, grab the burger, put it together, because everything on the left-hand side is stuff that they would need to put the burger together, except for the lettuce. The person who's washing dishes should be throwing lettuce over here all the time. Okay? And they can chop the lettuce and prepare it. Because everything else you need to complete a burger after the lettuce is on the side. You have the tomato, you have the cheese. That's what this person on the left is doing. All they're doing is they're taking the cheese, they're chopping the cheese, they're chopping the tomatoes, and they'll be grabbing these completed burgers that the person on the right is making this whole time, and putting them on washing these dishes, right? Putting the finished burger on one of these plates for this person to pick up and go. Right? That's the idea. Toward the end, you're going to definitely want to have the person who's making burgers, because there's going to be a lot more burgers than being served. You want the person making burgers toward the end to be on extinguisher duty, because there'll be points in time where you'll be trapped. So, like, for instance, I can't get out to serve at any given time. I have to at least blow this one up. But at least that allows you to serve. You definitely want to be on top of it. The pattern is the same every single time you play this level. So now that pattern, this pattern, same thing. You just want to, of course, blow this open here. Serving. Okay? But not all fires need to be blown out. Always prioritize this serving area, and also prioritize behind the person who's washing the dishes. In fact, you'll see another couple seconds. You'll see that behind the person who's washing dishes, it'll actually block them out. See, they're blocked. You take it out. So you want to go ahead and clean that up, clean this up. Okay. And now the person washing dishes will never be blocked again. Okay. But you will need to prioritize this area. It's majorly blocked off. See, this up, this up, this up. Now you can go ahead and start serving. Okay. The next stage is one of my least favorite stages. 5-3 is notorious for being a terrible stage because it is where you need to control a middle island over a very large pit. Don't enjoy it, but there is a strategy. And we're going to do the strategy, and things are going to burn because it's just me, but you'll have the idea of what's going on. The easiest way to kind of maintain what to do here is to have one person control the raft and another person do a lot of the running. The person who's controlling the raft can absolutely help out in some places, especially in places where, you want to like put things in the pots. But here's the idea. Okay, first thing you want to do, you want to start off at the bottom left, rice up, and then take plate. Take a look at the orders. Put this up. Get some of the burritos. So, as you can see, what I did right there was I got the rice first, start cooking the rice. Then, after I'm done cooking the rice, I want to get at least 3 burritos. If I can get the 2 plates, much better. And then go back down to grab that stuff that was cooked. Okay? It's also kind of part of the process. You also want to grab meats. So you can see that I actually don't need this right now. Okay. So now the next thing I'm going to do is going to come up here. Okay, and I'm going to start chopping, clearly. You also grab this third plate. When you're done chopping, you could absolutely try throwing it. You can line it up so it lines up nicely. Okay. Take your time with the lineup, it's okay. Basically repeat the whole thing. So I'm just going to do one rice. But definitely, again, you would need 3 of these, right? You want to put 3 of them down here. You got 3 rices. Go back. Pick them all up with that. Go over here. Start chopping. Clearly, it would be much faster chopping if we were just, with a partner. Okay, like that. Now, while this is cooking, come over here, grab the plates, go back up, start washing. Okay. Have your partner help you because it would be much faster if they help. Okay, and that's what you do. Okay, and you would be serving basically all 3 of those with all 3 dishes that you just got. 3 ones that are over here. And then again, over here. Rice. Here. Grab your tortillas. Okay. Back down. Grab this out. 3 of them, not just 1. Over here. It's also, you can catty corner this so that you can have, if you have this still 4 dishes that you want to wash, you can have one person chop and the other one wash them. That could help here on how far along you go. Also, you may have, of course, noticed that I can be able to, of course, pick things up from the pots and the pans. I mentioned earlier, it's very important to try to keep the pots and the pans on the bone as possible. To pick something up with a burrito or a plate or something like that to make sure that the pot and pan stays there, it would be much better than taking the time to move the pot off and then put it back on. It takes way too long. Alright, where do we go? Here. 5-4 is really cool. It looks pretty boring to start off with, but it actually has a couple of nice tricks. One of the things that you will see in this level, a lot of people do, is there's flour in the top right-hand corner that you're expected to throw down to the people at the bottom. If you throw it straight down, it'll end up in the bowl that it's not supposed to go in. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so if you just throw stuff straight down, it'll end up in that bowl. Okay, you don't want it to end up in the bowl because what will happen is it'll go like that, and it'll be in the bowl, and you'll have to throw this out. Okay, what you do is you come down or you angle. Okay, get it away from throwing directly into the bowl. All right, however you have to do it. If you have to go on the stairs to do it, that's fine. But that's the idea. You want to throw it away from throwing it straight down. That's number one. Okay. Exit just right here. All right. The next thing is you want to throw chocolate across. Okay. You throw as much chocolate as you want across, as long as the person down there is making it. The next thing, when you wash plates, you'll end up over here. You can throw them through the portal, right? This person here, or you can do a dash drop and throw them straight down like this. That's a lot faster and a lot more consistent because the portal might be in the wrong spot, or there might be a whole bunch of shit that's hanging out over here that you don't need. So that's going to be super helpful. Also, you'll know that the timer has not started, so I can go ahead and just prepare a whole bunch of stuff here. Show you is you can throw flour. Okay. That's also important because it's, of course, similarly safer to throw flour through the portal than it is to okay. And this is basically what you wanted to set up. You clearly, of course, want to chop much more chocolate. You can throw it into the corner there if it's helpful. But that's the idea. Throw. Actually, not like that. I didn't realize it actually went through that one. But anyway, I'm going to serve these two things. Go all the way over here. This person will be preparing stuff. So this here. This person's washing dishes. Top left. Down. But anyway, you get the gist. It's actually really fun to do. It's very fun with 3 people because you could just have one person stage by the sink, washing dishes and throwing them down. Another person on the bottom taking care of the bottom stuff, and then another person on the top right taking care of the stuff on the top right. And if everyone's paying attention and just making sure that the throws of the flour aren't filling bowls that don't need to be filled, it'll work out this way. This one is kind of fun if you have the right people playing. This is very much a team effort to get this one working right. But here's the general gist. There are platforms that have controllers, and you want to have, at the start, you want to have this platform over here, the chopping board, this one over here, okay? And what's going to happen there is you want to throw these over. Have this person take care of this. This person is taking care of the chopping stuff. Okay? And for this thing over here, all you need to do is make sure that this stuff's in place. This, there. Now, while you're waiting, you might feel obligated to go ahead and hit, switch over here. You don't want to do that while this person's chopping. Right? I'm only going to do 2. This is done. This is there. When the person over here on the left is all done chopping and is now cooking stuff, you can begin moving the platform. So you can go ahead and move the platform. You want this platform to be here, and then the person on the other side move this platform. Okay. Next, the person on the right is going to flip the plates right here in the center. Just like this. You can stage this one right here. The person over here is going to grab the plate, pick up the cookie, and circle. That's that. You put it back together, and you're going to take this down, this down. You can do the exact same thing again. The only difference is the person on the right is going to take these dirty plates and wash. Okay? The person over here is going to be chopped. Obviously, the person that's over here on the right also needs to throw mushrooms over to this person. Make sure you throw a whole bunch of those over to that person as well. Take care of. See, there's not a lot more technique or strategy about like double serving or when to put a pot or a pan or anything like that. You're not really talking about that too much here because you kind of learned all that stuff already in the earlier stages. Now it's all about getting familiar with the layout. 5 here. This one is a transitional kitchen. It first starts out like this, which is very, very challenging. And after this transitions, it's much, much easier because prior to the transition, where it's in this kind of area here, and actually this transitions 3 times, I believe. No, maybe this is just because I play all the time, so you can obviously see the general gist here is that you'll have to cross these platforms. They're very precarious. You absolutely die from trying to cross. But that's what you're trying to cross. So, and you're trying to cross, make sure that if you die and you have to wait 5 seconds, it's going to take a while. You could also absolutely do a toss. So we could actually try to toss it over and tie it away. That's fine. Wash dishes here as well. You can see there's a transition happening at this point. When the transition happens, then you can walk wherever you want. Much more. Now, it's just a matter of stuff moving around. one player chopping block. It's not helpful at all. So the next thing that's really important here is that you can, of course, drop plates here without actually going down. Okay. So you'll have one person down here blocking the plates, another person up here dropping. Okay. Obviously, you can go ahead and grab whatever stuff you need to grab and give to this person. So they need to go ahead and grab fish. Here's the fish. Stuff, right? So that could all happen right here, and then you can start to move on down here. And ready to put stuff together, bring it up. Grab pasta. Right? That's it. And that's it for World 5. Now we're going to do World 6, and we'll be done. Now a 2-hour-long tutorial. No thanks to loading screens. 6-1 definitely has a strat to it. And the strat here is that you can do this without touching the fire extinguisher. It's the way that you do that is you basically only use the right side mixers and ovens. The time also does not start on this one until you start the first distribution, so you can do a whole bunch of preparing first. Take the honey, put it on the conveyor belt, have your partner pick it up. Coolers with eggs. Always use the right side one. Everything in this is going to need honey, egg, and flour, so you can prepare all of it like that. What I want to show you next is basically your setup. Okay, so clearly I've already set up a whole bunch of stuff. But you want to continuously bring stuff into the middle. Definitely the honey, prioritize the honey because you're going to need it. The next thing is that you want to you want to fill up the bowls as you bring the bowls down. So the first thing is you have flour that's up here, right? Stuff. So you have the flour that's up here, okay? And you have the honey and other ingredients, like the carrots, the chocolate. All that stuff will be prepared in the middle. And then the last thing you'll need is the egg, right? So flour. Also, you can put another flour right there. Next thing I'm going to do, take this, honey, this, drop drop that down there. Same thing. This flour, honey. If I can't do anything right now, I'll leave it. Egg. And I would have other stuff chopped in the center circularly, but right now. Like I said, you just use the right side. These out. So here we go. These out. Here, here, circle. Goes up. Goes down. Goes up. The egg. At some point, you actually would throw it in there, but apparently it's not. Okay. Honey. The egg, right? Again, you have the person in the center cutting all that stuff. That's the egg. You have the one runner who's basically making sure that the conveyor belt has plenty of stuff on that for that person to chop in the middle, and then you have that one runner that's going up and down. If you have more people, just, you know, have some help between the top and the bottom. That'll be fine. All right, 6-2. 6-2 is also one that's very challenging. People definitely do not like this stage. There's a pattern to the way that the islands appear and disappear, but right in the beginning of this, what you want to do is you want to have your partner stand in the middle and another person go all the way across to grab stuff. You have a partner stay here. Meanwhile, you have the person throw stuff down. Then with the person in the middle, you can throw stuff back. Now, another thing that you can do is you can also throw ingredients back and forth. Now, the reason that you might want to do that is so that if a bowl ends up on one of these islands, then you can just fill the bowl with the ingredients from the other side. So, for example, let's get now what I can do is bring this bowl. Sometimes you need the combo. Okay. The egg. Be careful about leaving stuff up there because if there's the islands move, then you will never be able to catch that thing that was done. You can see I put it on the plate, fill it up. Yes, sir. Look, this is a hard one, okay? Between having to pay attention to the orders, getting the ingredients, all that stuff. So you want to try to make it as easy as possible for you to carry stuff over and for you to be able to put as many things in the bowl before bringing it over to the mixer as is going to be really helpful for you. So if you can put egg and flour in the bowl before bringing it back, do it. Then all you need to do is throw the rest of the ingredients. Unfortunately, there's 3 different ingredients you have to throw over. You'll need the honey, you'll need chocolate, and you'll need carrots. This one is fine. There's nothing really annoying about this one, but it does introduce a little bit new tactic that I haven't mentioned yet, which is moving frying pans. So when you first off, this one, their plates are down here. One of the plates. Of course, you can do this at any time you want, but you want to make sure that you have the right side. Next thing, make sure these buttons are always red. Okay, so that's going to be able to give you your stuff that you need. I'm actually just going to make. Now, instead of taking this bowl and bringing it down, what you want to do is you want to take the frying pan and bring it up. Okay? The reason that you do that is so that the bowl is still here. The bowl is still in the mixer. So I can go ahead and continue to fill that up and have it cook more stuff, while this thing is just the frying pan just frying the food. That's what I get for. So that's the goal here. So keep these things red. Okay. Have your partner that's down here continuously cut stuff that needs to be cut, grab stuff that can't be cut for right now, just continuously grab stuff. Okay. And make sure that anything that needs to be grabbed from the conveyor belts is properly staged. So I can grab that here. Okay. Like that. There's plates early. Done again. I'm just gonna grab it with this thing here. See that? See how much faster you're going to be cooking that way? As long as you have that bowl still sitting in here, while you just, you just bring the pan up here. Bringing the pan to these bowls ends up being a strat in a lot of different kitchens. Almost done. That was 63, I think. We got 3 more stages. This one you want to prioritize getting the meat and the dough out, so that you can just have the other side of it to the other side of the raft. You'll get it. So the idea here is if you kind of grab it, get ready to throw it, then you can just throw meat and stack. You can start chopping some stuff. Get out of the way, you. Okay. But you want, again, there's not a lot of room here, so that's why you want to kind of find places to put stuff, because you need to move this thing all the way around to get the other stuff. Okay. You want to also set up a whole bunch of burger buns, and all the burgers you're going to be cooking. There isn't a lot of stuff that needs chicken and sausage. It's just going to be pizzas. So grab a couple of these, and then bring this thing around. There's going to be a lot more things that need tomato. All the pizzas need tomato. And then many of the burgers will need lettuce and cheese, or lettuce and tomato. So it's much more common to be getting this from this side than it would be from the other one. Okay? From here, you're just going to be chopping. You can't double serve because there isn't enough room to double serve. I haven't tried it. And that's it. Oh, the last thing you need to know, you can take stuff out of these ovens from the back. So you You don't need to come from the front with the plate. Come from the back. Go ahead and take this thing out right from here, which I'm going to try to do. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to. It's not done yet. Yeah, that's it. So you can do it right from the back. Okay, right from here. Sorry, boom, just like that. All right. So that's going to be really helpful. There's another tactic that you can try here, which is basically resetting the cooking timer. I don't have the time to show you what that is, but basically what you're able to do there is you can partially cook pizzas, then put the rest of the ingredients on a plate. Okay. Then you're going to take the pizza out, put it on the plate, and put the plate back in to the oven. And that's going to reset the cooking timer on the ingredients. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go over it here to chop like enough ingredients to pair that kind of thing. But if you have a partner, super helpful to do that. Wrap this up in 10 minutes. Got 2 more. For this stage, you'll be making burgers. The same thing applies. You don't want to put anything on a plate unless you're going to serve it. So make sure that plates are clean as they come around to service. The person on the top is going to be throwing a whole bunch of stuff to be chopped. On the bottom, you do it diagonally, which will be helpful. Watch this. Do that. The person on the bottom should be putting the plates on. Do not need to take these buns out. There's no reason for it. These buns right there. It's not going to be helpful for you to put buns on stuff that's ready. You also want to throw meat for yourself over here. Okay. The reason for that is because you can chop stuff yourself over here. Certainly important to not have too many things on this conveyor belt, but it is important to have, stuff so that you can grab some from the conveyor. If there's anything on here that you might need, like whatever. Okay. And this is the general gist. You're going to want to be chopping stuff and preparing stuff for you to be able to chop, down here. Prepare this here for them. Now I can go ahead and do this. Again, this is a lot easier with an actual partner than you do. Okay. Chopping. Wash. Again, once these burgers are cooked, pick them up and leave them right here. I didn't put it on a plate. I could because I'm up here ready to prepare stuff. Oh, by the way, when this plate is done, you get to bring it back. Right? Go, back. Again, this person down here is chopping. The person on top, this person is putting the burgers together. So there should be chopped stuff for this person up here, putting it onto this burger, and then serving it, right? Okay. Don't put anything on a plate that isn't about to be served. All right, the last one I'm not going to do the whole thing through because it's a transitional stage. It's basically, again, trying to teach you all the things that you need to do that you've been doing in the other stages. But it's transitional, so I'm going to show you just the first piece. Second piece will make it a Easter egg if you figure it out because you've gone so far. Alright, so obviously there's a little bit of a floor that you have to get through here. Teleported to a place. Yes or no?
Yeah, hey, oh yeah, oh, yeah.
So the only things I want to really show you here, again, you can switch pots and pans, it doesn't really matter. But the important thing that you need to know is that there's a button here, and there's a button here. So if you get caught in here, you can't get out because your partner is doing whatever. So I'm doing this thing over here. You get out. Okay, just like that. Alright, that's all I'm going to really show you here. As you create orders, you'll need to use different items here. You'll need to open the button for your partner in order to serve. Serve now. And that's it. You obviously have 25 minutes to take care of all the things you need to take care of here, so it's all done. But that's all. That's all I wanted to show you. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I want to do some strategies for the DLC levels as well. So I'll have other videos for those planned. But that's it. Thanks for watching.